Hello, today we're going to cover Skitarii and only Skitarii. We're going to go through the Admech codex for 2021 and we're going to look at some of the features. And we're going to cover some of these core rules and, well, core keywords and stuff like that at the same time. Now, just to give you an idea of what is actual Skitarii, I'm not going to read out a full list. Right? Skitarii is a marshal, rangers, vanguard, infiltrators, rust stalkers, raiders, sulphur hounds, sterilizers, sky stalkers, iron striders, dragoons, disintegrators, dune crawlers, dune riders, transvectors, stratoraptors, fusiliers, and that's it. Now, if we go all the way to the top and start with a marshal, he's the only HQ choice that is actually a Skitarii. So he's the only HQ choice for a Skitarii army at the moment. Looking at this, I don't see any other option until we get to here, and then we've got Skitarii. Yeah, he's also a Doctrina assembler, so he counts as an HQ choice. And that's important too, because you need a Doctrina assembler for some of the features that you get early on. If I can just find them really quickly. Not the Holy Orders. Holy Orders are nearly all cult mechanicus. There we go. Doctrine imperatives. And right here it says if there is a Doctrine assembler model on your army battlefield, you can select one Doctrine imperative. So you need some kind of HQ choice, and if you're going with Skitarii, you don't have to, you can mix and match obviously, but if you're going with Skitarii, you're going to need the marshal. Now, the marshal being an HQ can be a warlord anyway, but he doesn't have to be. He can be given a warlord trait using the Mechanicus locum, and he can be given the the Archneotech specialist strat that allows him to take a relic. Now, if you give him a relic, the Exemplar's entity relic, which can only be given to him, allows rerolls of 1 for hit and wound rolls for anything within 6 inches. So it's worth giving him a relic. It is worth it. It costs you 1 command point if he's not your warlord. So yeah, it is a good start for some kind of HQ choice. Now, moving on, many stratagems require you to be core. In fact, if we look at the Doctrine imperatives, all of these require you to be Adeptus Mechanicus, right? Which is basically everybody, right? Everybody in here should be Adeptus Mechanicus, even the cult unit. So Doctrine imperatives apply to everybody, or they should do, right? Mind you, no. They have abilities, Canicles or the Omnisire, and Doctrine imperatives are clearly listed on the data sheet, so they don't apply to everybody. But anyway, the core units and data tethers and vehicles and all that lot, they all determine which stratagems can be used on what units. Now, if we go down to stratagems, we start looking at the various things. We go down to ranges. Then, first of all, we start to see that the machine superiority strat, which is a +1 strength in melee, applies to every single Skitarii unit on the board. As does acquisition at any cost, which is a free morale pass. But the rangers, they basically get a warlord trait or an artifact for their princip or alpha, and galvanic weapon volley fire, and the vanguard gets something similar, right, except for they're lacking any special abilities. But I do believe there is some Forge World rules for custom Forge Worlds, which make the Radiant ones a bit more lethal. There's always a possibility I missed something here as well. But anyhow, they don't get much in support of these Rangers and Vanguard, really. It's just standard stuff. But they are core units, and as such, there's a few things I've missed off of that, because For some reason, I didn't notice that there were core units when I was researching this video, and I only found out at the last minute, so there'll be a few stratagems missing off of that. But yeah, the stratagems for the units that I didn't forget, says the core units: infiltrators, rust stalkers, raiders, sulphur hounds, sterilizers, sky stalkers, ballistari, dragoons, disintegrators are data tethered, so that counts for many of these. Not dune crawlers, dune riders, and that's it. These all benefit from some very specific things here. Skitarii warlord traits. I've been talking about core units and data tethers for a particular reason, because all of these Skitarii warlord traits, which can now be given to a large number of units, including the martial, rangers, infiltrators, rust stalkers, raiders, silver hounds, sterilizers, sky stalkers. But anyhow, all of these units can be made into a kind of a fake warlord, and the warlord traits, for them to apply to people or to units, the unit must either be a Skitarii core unit or have a core data tether. In other words, it has to be a core unit with a data tether. But core and data tether, it does tend to limit, you know, who can benefit from the warlord trait. Some units down here, for example, are neither, like the dune crawler. That's just a vehicle. That would not benefit from warlord traits. None of the archicopters would either. So you've got to be careful, you know, how you apply these warlord traits, because they're not as effective across the board as you might think, and they're very, very specific. Core Skitarii units, data tether core, that's the ones they apply to. So watch yourself on them, don't get confused. Relic wise, exemplar enters eternity for your martial. If you're going to take a martial and you want him to be more like a warlord, but you don't want him to be a warlord, then you could upgrade him to a warlord status without making him a warlord and give him that. Or you could just give him that with the relic. I think the what's the name of it? It's the Arc Neotech Specialist Strat, which allows you to give him a relic. Just give him that. He's the only one that can take that anyway. Right, if we go down to some specialist things here, if we go down to where is it? It's one of these. To the Pteraxi sterilizers, right? They're the only ones that can be given the arc grenade stratagem. I'm not sure why they made that a stratagem. They should have just made it an ability, since it only applies to one unit. But yeah, they can attack vehicles with that. So that's something to note as well. Now we're going to focus a bit deeper on things now. We're going to start with the standard units and work our way through it. Rangers and Vanguard. If I just tune this in a bit. Now, Rangers, that's these guys. Yeah. Now they come with their best range weapon, standard range weapon in our arsenal, the galvanic rifle. They can also be given sniper rifles, the transuranic arquebus, which is a bit expensive, but you can give it. They can have enhanced data tethers as well, an omniplex, right, which basically denies the enemy light cover benefits. You can give them one heavy weapon or one special weapon for every 5 men, but you're only allowed up to 19 in the squad, so you're only going to get 3 heavy weapons. With the HQ, not the HQ, with the Alpha, I recommend you keep the galvanic rifle on him. Don't give him a pistol, because too many games I've played, I've given him a pistol in case he's attacked, and he's never been attacked, and he's not been able to shoot. So that when I get a casualty, he's the first one I remove. So leave him with the default weapon. I mean, here you can see I've given him an arc pistol, but that's not what I have got him on my army sheet now. I've changed that to keep the standard weapon on him. Same is true for the Vanguard. If you look there, he's got an arc pistol too. But I have a variety of configurations for alphas, by the way. I just happen to have picked alpha and power sword twice for this demonstration. Anyhow, the radium carbine, that's always been a good weapon. Radium carbine, again, you keep your alpha with that, right, on the Vanguard. Don't change it. You've got the same rules apply. Now though, the arquebus and everything else, it's pretty much identical. They made Rangers and Vanguard identical, right? So the difference is the helmets are different and the rules are a bit different. No, they're not. The rules are exactly the same, except for the rad Aurora saturation. But if you've got, on the Vanguard front though, the rad Aurora saturation rule, right, says it subtracts 1 from the strength and toughness of the characteristic for any unit you're engaged with. If you go to Forge World rules, right, the ones where you can make up your own Forge World, right, rad saturated welds, this is page 58, right, primary rule, it changes the rad rule from engaged to anything within 3 inches. Is that the one? Oh no, it's a secondary, right? Extreme rad Aurora, secondary ability. But it changes that rule from engagement range only to 3 inches, so you can have -1 toughness and strength for anything within 3 inches of you, which is quite good if you're making up your own Forge World. To be honest, some of these made up Forge Worlds are better than Mars, in my opinion. But we'll go into that in a different video. So yeah, keep the standard weapons on all the men so they can shoot. Remember, right, if we look at the Vanguard, which is my favourite Skitarii unit, they can fire 3 shots. So if a 10-man squad with 12 weapons, I'm basically going to have 8 men that can fire 3 times. So we're talking 24 shots at strength 3. It means you're probably going to get at least 4 6s. Now, each time you roll a 6, it automatically wounds the target. So you're going to get 4 wounds automatically, on average. Now, I also give them a rapid fire arc rifle so I can target vehicles, right? But sometimes I'm mixing the plasma caliber, which is assault 2. Now, it's the difference between an arc rifle and that is 1 point on strength. But the arc rifle, it goes, says if an attack is made with this weapon against a vehicle unit, the attack has a damage characteristic of 3, right? And the unmodified wound roll of 4 plus successfully wounds the target. So basically the strength doesn't matter against vehicles. You're always going to be wounded on a 4 plus, and I take them for vehicles. So basically it's a 3 damage weapon against vehicles on a 4 plus, and it's a -2 AP. So they're worth taking. It's the equivalent of a low grade heavy weapon. So yeah, arc rifles, good against vehicles. And you could actually do quite a bit of damage if you had a couple of them in your squad. In the demonstration here, I've got a plasma there and an arc rifle there. And these ones here are snipers, 2 arquebus things. But I do have rangers equipped with other weapons. So right, moving on. Right, we're going to go through this one bit at a time. Right, infiltrators and rust stalkers. Right, infiltrators are one of the 3 units that you can redeploy. You can actually give I think it's a tech priest special ability to redeploy if you want. I think it might be a relic, but infiltrators can be redeployed. They can also be given taser goals, which means the taser chain stratagem comes into effect. Now, if you look at each time the attack is made with a weapon, a modified roll of 6 scores 2 additional hits. The chain taser rule, or the taser chain rule, makes it a 5 or a 6. So you get 2 additional hits on the 5 or a 6. Right, here we go. Each time an attack is made against this unit, if the attacking model is within 12 inches, the hit roll cannot be re-rolled and the wound roll cannot be re-rolled. So that kind of limits any special abilities a little bit. You also get a 5+ of vulnerable, can redeploy. While the enemy is within 3 inches, you subtract 1 from the leadership. Now if I look down here at the infiltrator's abilities, they've got the machine superiority strat, which is +1 on strength, so their strength, if you use that strat, goes up to 5, which means their power swords are now 6 strength, because on this power swords are +1. They can be given a warlord or a warlord trait or a relic. They have acquisition at any cost, so they can pass morale tests if they're near an objective. They got Circus Assassin, which is redeployment. During deployment, you can set this unit up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 9 inches away from the enemy, which is a bit weird because redeployment is something similar but takes a turn to do. Basically, you deploy them anywhere on the battlefield, and then you use that to take them off the table and deploy them on turn 2. So you've got 2 rules here. They're roughly the same thing. One takes a turn longer. The only advantage of using Circus Assassin only applies to these guys, right? And rather than that is because you can put them down first, put them within 9 inches of the enemy, right? Deployment zone. The enemy will then deploy thinking you're going to be there, and then you play that card and move them. That's the only benefit I would have mastered that, because it seems a bit weird having 2 rules that do the same thing. But the Rust Stalkers says they've got they can ignore all modifiers to the move characteristic, with the exception of the incurred due to depreciation effect of the bulkwood imperative. 85 says this unit can ignore any and all modifiers to its advanced rolls. As a 5+ invulnerable. Each time a range attack is allocated to a model in this unit, whilst it's receiving the benefits of cover, an additional 1 to any armour saving throw made against the attack, where you add an additional 1. So basically its saving throw goes to 3, right? It says whilst it's in cover. But yeah, anyway, these are very similar units in a way, except for these have the transonic razors. Each time attack is made with this weapon, an unmodified hit roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound. That's with transonic razors, and they all get that. Right? I think you have to upgrade to transonic blades, which is a very similar thing. It's just it's extra AP. It's AP -3 and +1 strength, where the other one is user strength. I actually prefer the infiltrators. Right? I think I just like them better. Both of these are special because they're core units. So the core units combined with the ability to give them relics, warlord traits, tasers, info skill. That means you can shoot at units that are deploying near you, at the beginning of the game, and things like that. There is actually other units which we'll get to in a minute that can do some similar things. These are all Doctor Imperatives. Again, you'll notice a pattern. Skitarii get Doctor Imperatives, Cult Mechanicus get Canicles of the Omnislayer. Now, the Raiders, these guys here, they carry galvanic carbines. These units are 16 points each for a Power 2 Raider, which is a bit expensive. But they do move 12 inches, right? And you have a 4+ saving throw. You can give them, they have a data tether, and add 1 to leadership of the units, of the bearer's unit. Now, you've got 5+ things, skirmish line. They can't move within 9 inches of the enemy on turn 1, basically. They can make a normal move though. Eyes of the Serbians. Each time you select a target for, say, a weapon, a model this unit is equipped with, you can ignore lookout save roll. Each time the range attack is made with a model in this unit, an unmodified roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target. So it's not too bad. These are basically shooty types. Moving across to the Sulphur Hounds though, we have each one has 2 sulphur pistol or furious phosphor pistols, sulphur breath and clawed limbs. Now sulphur breath is basically a pistol which automatically hits, so it's like a flamer pistol, and it's 4 minus 2 AP1, so it's quite dangerous. These are 20 points each, so they're even more expensive. Again, I'm not 100% sure if they're worth the points. But anyway, the pistols, they're pistol free. You don't receive benefits of dense cover against an attack. The other one is a carbine, but that carbine, the phosphor blast carbine, is an upgrade. I think it's a worthwhile upgrade because it gives you 18-inch range and assault 2d3 with the same kind of stats as the pistol, which is a 5 minus 1 and 1. So yeah, I think it's worth. So I think it'd be worth taking the upgraded carbine. Now we get to the more interesting ones. The Patellax sterilizers. Now, if I look at these guys here, which I think where to put them here. Here we go. Right, these are core units as well. These can also be given a warlord trait and a relic. They also get acquisition at any cost, and the machine superiority strat, which is the +1 on strength in melee. These sterilizers, they also carry taser weapons, so the taser strat applies. They can stop enemies falling back with the deeply sunken talons. They got booster thrust, which means they can be redeployed. During deployment, you can set these up high in the sky instead of setting up on the battlefield. If you do so, then reinforcement step of 1. Then in the reinforcement step of 1 of your movement phases, you can set this unit up anywhere on the battlefield. Going over to that, basically booster thrust is redeployment. So again, right, GW managed to make a stratagem for a unit that can already do it. This is why I think this is probably one of the worst codexes that I've seen from GW. Anyway, again, you know, this time actually, I don't think you can actually. Yeah, this is the same thing. It literally is the same thing with this one. If we go to booster thrust, for example, just found the stratagem. Yeah, if we can. Stratagems, right. Booster thrust. Right. Use this stratagem at the end of your turn. Select 1 Pteraxi unit from your army. Remove from the battlefield. In the reinforcement step of your next movement phase, you can set it on the battlefield anywhere more than 9 inches away from any model. If the battle ends, it says the unit is not on the battlefield, it's considered destroyed. Thermal riders. During deployment, you can set this up high in the sky instead of setting up on the battlefield. If you do so, then in the reinforcement step of 1 of your movement phases, you can set this up on the battlefield anywhere within 9 inches. That and that, it's the same rule. Right, and the stalkers get it as well. So basically, right, like I said, we've got 2 rules here are identical, and we've got a booster thrust ability that goes with them, which does the same job as their own abilities. Why Games Workshop? I mean, that one there, why didn't that get spotted in testing? Anyhow, they also get info slave, you know, things, so they can shoot at reinforcements coming in, just like the others, the infiltrators, and they can also benefit from Skitarii warlord traits. Because to benefit, you have to be, you know, warlord traits. You have to be very specific. I think you have to be a Skitarii core unit, says, or have a data tether and be a core unit. And they can benefit from the Skitarii things. Now, Dragoons, Iron Straws and Dragoons, these are also data tether core units, so they would benefit from the Skitarii warlord traits as well. I actually like the Iron Stradas and good guns. I have 5 of them in total, and they always do well. I like to use them as hunters. But yeah, they're also Skitarii, just so you know. Right, moving on to the disintegrator tank. This is just really a vehicle. It's a data tethered unit, so it does benefit from. Well, it doesn't actually. It's not a core data tether unit, so it doesn't benefit from the warlord traits. Neither does the Omega Dune Crawler. Regarding the Dune Crawlers, well, in fact, regarding disintegrators, I think the default loadout is actually pretty good on its own, without any upgrades. If you just give it what comes with it, you should be fine. I tend to like the Bellaris energy cannon, because my mate likes to target me with weapons that can't see me, and this allows me to do it back to him. Anyhow, the Dune Crawler, nearly everybody I know would be taking the neuron laser or neutron laser. Now the neutron laser comes with a heavy stubber underneath it, but here they only list it as a neutron laser. And oh, smoke screen! I finally found where the smoke screen is. Bearer gate smoke launchers, it gains the smoke screen. I was actually trying to find that earlier and I couldn't find it anywhere. I was looking in keywords and it wasn't there. So yeah, anyway, if you add a broad spectrum data tether as well, it gains the data tether rule. So you've got to take the optional upgrades to make that into a data tether unit. Right, anyway, yeah, anyhow, most people take the neutron laser on that, but I would actually say that the Icarus cannon, which is a heavy 4 and can attack aircraft, is very good against Tau. Right, you want to take that. If you're facing Tau a lot, take one of them. Eradication beamer can be replaced with a Daedalus missile launcher, 1 Gatling rocket launcher, and a twin Icarus cannon. 1 neutron laser, 1 heavy stubber, so it's 1 twin heavy phosphorus thing. So yeah, but the neutron laser, that's what people usually use it as. It's one of the really cheaper, better options for upgrading tanks and stuff in the Admech army. The mainstay, I would call it. The Scorpius Dune Raider, on the other hand, it's just all heavy stubbers, really good at taking out infantry and carrying infantry. But we get to the Archicopters now. The Archicopters, these are again Skitarii. You get lots of different types here. Transvectors. Now this is the heavy stubber variant, a bit like the Dune Raider, right? It's a bit more expensive by the looks of it. But anyway, the Transvector thing, basically it's just anti-infantry, but you come to the Stratoraptor and you've got twin Cognis laser cannon on that, or you can take the Phosphorus Blaster, which is a heavy 3. Basically the Phosphorus Blaster, you know, denies dense cover, so it's really good against units in cover. So if you were to equip it with that, it'd be anti-infantry. If you equipped it with twin Cognis laser cannon, it'd be anti-tank. But they'd always get the 2 Cognis heavy stubbers, so you get 8 shots. And the Fuser Slave, that's the transport, if I remember rightly. Or was that the other one? Oh no, it's the Transvector's the transport. That means the Transvector transport, and the Fuser Slave is the one with all the heavy stubbers on it. There's 4 of them. So that is like 16 shots at infantry. So that's not bad, really. That is not bad at all. In the Doctrine Imperatives, these only apply mostly to Skitarii, and only if you have the Doctrine Assembler on the field. That means only if you have an HQ unit in play. But most of these come with benefits and disadvantages. For instance, you can improve the ballistic skill of all models by 1, but at the cost of your weapon skill, that goes down by 1. Or you can improve the weapon skill by 1 at the cost of your ballistic skill. Remember, this will apply to everybody, right? So it's a global thing for all Skitarii units. You can improve the save characteristic, but the move characteristic is reduced. Is reduced by 3. You can improve the move characteristic by 3, but the save is reduced by 1. But these are optional. You don't have to use these. These are optional. It says here you can take one, not that you have to. The same with the Canticles of the Omnissiah. Now, one of the benefits of, if we go up to it, one of the benefits of the stratagems you take here are, some of these, like, where is it? It goes down the bottom here. It says the the data blessed sermon, which can only be given by a tech priest, can be given to a unit, even a Skitarii, which means you can make a Skitarii use a Canticle of the Omnissiah by using that stratagem from a tech priest. A tech priest then uses that stratagem in addition to the existing Canticle. He gets the new one. And the Skitarii gets to use a Canticle of the Omnissiah as well. And these can be Canticles that have already been used during the game. So if we look down the list here, and we use the Benediction of the Omnissiah, you can basically re-roll 1 hit roll, re-roll 1 wound roll, re-roll 1 damage roll for the Skitarii unit, right? As well as the Tech Priest. So you can have it benefit from all kinds of stuff. But that is one of the few ways Skitarii can get Canticles of the Omnissiah without being Mars, basically. So yeah, there's an awful lot here to cover, but this is all Skitarii. And just to remind you what all Skitarii get, they all get Machine Superiority Stratagem. That's a +1 strength. They all get Acquisition at any cost. That's a free morale pass. If you're near an objective, everything else changes, right? Taser Guard protocols or chain taser guard protocol. That's very good for units that have tasers. Info Slave. That's equipped for most of the units that can redeploy, so they can shoot at things that are redeploying in front of them. You've got like the Serbi Sulphur Hounds and the Pataralex Sterilizers. I mean, the Sterilizers are basically anti-infantry. They carry flamers, and they're really good at taking out massive amounts of infantry. So you probably use them in a kind of defensive role maybe, or an aggressive role where you're taking out hordes. If you're facing hordes, you definitely need a squad of them, I'd say. The Sulphur Hounds, but let's get the stats up for them. Sulphur Hounds, Andy. Sulphur Hounds with their blasters, again, they'd be good anti-horde, but again, I'd upgrade them to the blast carbine. And the Raiders, I forgot what the Raiders carry. Oh, they're carbines. They're long range, well, not long, they're 18 inches, but they're quite good at shooting. So you know, to be honest, you've got other units that are good at shooting, so I don't know why you take them. So it'd probably be Serbian Sulphur Hounds you'd take. Right, so Sulphur Hounds and Sterilizers, both similar jobs. The Sky Stalkers with their pistols. Remember, you can fire a pistol in combat, or used to be able to. I've got to check if it's still a thing. But pistols, their pistol is fire, but it's strength 3, so it's a little bit like the Radium Carbine, except for there's no special abilities attached to it. But they carry taser guards as well, so the chain taser rule applies to them. So they'd be a good one to get into combat. I think this unit can fall back and still shoot. So basically, you can get in combat, do your damage, fall back, shoot at the unit you've just left. So they're actually quite good for getting in. I'd call them really good skirmish units, to be honest. Not too sure about the. In fact, they get standard ones get the carbine, which is Assault 5, and the Alpha is the one that gets the blaster, which is Pistol 5. So only the pistol is given to the Alpha. Says the rest of them get assault weapons at 18 inches. So yeah, it's still good shooting, I think. It's still good, but they all get taser guards anyway, by the looks of it. Oh no, it isn't. It's just the Alpha. Okay, maybe they're not so good in combat. But anyway, you get the idea, right? But all of this is just a sample of what you get. I don't have the newer models, right? The Pataraxi, Skystalkers, Sterilizers, the Raiders, Sulphur Hounds, or the Archicopters, or the Marshals yet. But if you want to know what I'll be getting, I'll definitely be getting a Marshal, because that'll be a good little thing to have. I'll be getting one of the Archicopters. Might get more than one actually. I wasn't too sure about it. It's a bit weak, but they do have an Aurora denying ability. You get them within so close of an enemy, then they can basically deny Auroras to the surrounding units, and then because they're a vehicle, you can choose to have them explode if they lose their last wound, and that would cause mortal wounds to anybody nearby. So yeah, they could be flying bomb. But the transport might be useful. Can you imagine using electro priests in one of them? Fly them over, drop them off. But they're quite good in combat. Getting them was always a problem. So these with electro priests, possibly, yeah. And then you got the Stratocopter, which is the laser cannon one, or it's basically either hunting infantry or it's hunting tanks. I'd probably set it up as a tank hunter. Right, but how much would that cost? That would be about 100 and some odd points. So there are cheaper options, to be honest, but aircraft, they move quite fast, so you can get in there really quickly on turn 1. And the Fuser Slave thing, that's basically 16 shots at infantry. So we got the Fusilave, infantry attack, Stratoraptor, tank attack or infantry, and then the Transvector, infantry carrying with limited attacks from for infantry. But if I look down here, they carry a seismic bomb. The Fusilave, that's the anti-infantry one, carries the bomb. They all carry electrofilament countermeasures, which is the no Aurora abilities. So yeah. But anyway, yeah, their units I probably need to get. I also want to get another disintegrator, because it's like, it's a combination really, isn't it? You're kind of either going for Dune Crawlers or disintegrators now. They both have their own abilities and benefits. One of them's more expensive than the other, but I do like the Belarus energy cannon, right? Being able to target units I can't see. And yeah, I mean, Dune Crawler's neutron laser really does hit home, does the job, but a bit of flexibility from the Scorpius disintegrator comes in handy as well. If we look back at relics and stuff, we haven't really covered the relics today because there's only one really that applies. The rest of it could be applied to individual things, but because they're not characters, I'm not too sure if it would be. Are they characters? In fact, it doesn't say if the alpha's a character. It doesn't say in there for definite. So you probably couldn't get. Probably could be given a relic, although it says you can. Weird. But anyhow, that is just the Skitarii. Right? That is just a focus on the Skitarii, nothing else. See you in the next one.